head into the unknown, down the rabbit hole, where it stops no one knows. We're going head into the unknown. Na, 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 na.
Well, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good happy Thursday. What the hell is today? I don't even know anymore. I think it's Thursday. Hi, everybody. Thank you guys for popping in. I know it's kind of last minute, but there is some news in the Orrin and Orson West case that I wanted to hop on here and share with you guys. I just posted it on my community wall. Orrin and Orson West, if you guys remember, they were reported missing by their adopted parents in December of 2021. Oh my gosh, why can't I even think? 2021, I believe. 2020? 2021. They were convicted in May of this year, and the sentencing is happening, or happened already, just got done. I was listening to it. You cannot stream the sentencing because the court doesn't allow any live streaming, although they do play it. So I was able to listen to it live, but so then I posted everything that was kind of being said on my community wall. And then they're going to have the district attorney is going to have a press conference. So I wanted to make sure that we could stream that, and then I could tell you guys about the sentencing. So hi, Salty C. Hi, Sluice Investigate. See, Dobe. Hey, Tia. Hi, little Kazat. Oh, no. I hope that you get that done quickly. Hi, Chocolate. Hey, Leslie. Hi, Glowbug. Hey, Dina. Hi, Mama Stone. Hey, Stephanie. Hi, Iowa Backyard Cam. Hi, Python Chick. Hi, Butterfly Kisses. So I'm currently trying to find the best place to watch the presser because it's supposed to be starting like right now. KGTV is typically their local, area. So I'll go over the sentencing really quick, and then I'll keep looking for the press conference. If one of you guys finds it, just shoot me a message. Otherwise, I'll just pull it up probably on KGT. So Jacqueline West's attorney, Torres Stalling. If you guys aren't familiar with this case, I've covered the case in my case files. I covered the trial as it was happening. It literally happened at the same time as Lori Vallow's trial and Letitia Stauch's trial, and they threw all of them at us like at once. So it's in my playlist for each one of the cases. So, and it's all separated. So if you guys wanted to go back and check it out, feel free. So other than that, so sentencing, they were convicted in May of 5 of the 7 counts in the connection to Orrin and Orson West's deaths. The boys have never been found, and the defense team always claimed that they were actually kidnapped and taken on December 21st, although all the evidence actually pointed to, and they believe they were taken from California City, but all the evidence actually pointed to that the boys really never made it to California City, that they were actually deceased back in September, when the family, the West family, was moving from Bakersfield to California City. Their own biological children testified against them. I mean, it's kind of crazy. So they were actually found guilty of 5 of the 7 counts. 2 of the counts were actually, they ended up in a mistrial. So the district attorney was going to decide at sentencing or by sentencing that, if they were going to retry those 2 charges. So today it was said that they are not retrying those 2 charges. They are going to leave them as is. Both Trezell and Jacqueline got the same sentence, although Jacqueline's attorney, Taurus Stallings, like I was saying, was really fighting that Jacqueline would never do anything like this, and apparently wiping tears away while she's talking. She deserves probation. And the judge finally was just like, yeah, no, that's not happening. But because it was not a first-degree murder charge, so a lot of people are going to be unhappy with the sentencing, but this is a second-degree murder charge. So we have to kind of put things in perspective. And so the judge actually sentenced them on second-degree murder for 15 years to life. So basically it's a life sentence with the possibility of parole in 15 years. But each of them received an additional 4 years. So let's say Trezell and Jacqueline go to the parole hearing in 15 years. They get parole for that. They still have to serve an additional 4 years. So if they serve 25 years, if they serve 37 years, regardless of when they're able to have parole, they'll have to have an additional 4 years added on. So basically at minimum, right now we're looking at 19 years to life. Plus 4 years. But I mean, that's just that's silly, because if they're in there for the rest of their life, there is no plus 4 years. Hi, Dynamite. Hi, Bushi. Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Quinny. Hi, Mel Mac. Hi, LFT. Hi, Likely Nicole. Hey, Natasha. So what do I think they did with the boys? I was so on the fence about this case because I was like, I don't know how they're going to prove that they actually killed the boys. Now, after listening to the entire trial, I do believe the boys were disposed of in the dumpsters at the apartments, at least one of them, if not both. And they're probably in a trash dump somewhere in California at this point. That's what I think. I was always really concerned about the trafficking part, that they sold them. But after the hearing, after the trial, I do believe that they are deceased, and I do believe that they're in a dump. Sadly, that's what I think. Yeah, they make me sick. They lie so flippin' easy, and then for her attorney to be like, oh yeah, no, she's never done anything wrong. Yeah, she has, because those kids were being abused. Okay. For anybody who's not familiar, one of the things that really pissed me off that we found out at trial too was that they didn't like that the boys chewed their food with their mouth open. So they would hold their mouth closed while they were eating, and they taught their other kids to hold the boys' mouths closed while they were eating. So they weren't only abusing them, they were teaching the other children to abuse them. And then because it got so bad, they started blending up their food and giving it to them in sippy cups. They would just basically put the food into a blender and give it to them. This doesn't count the physical. I mean that's physical too, but you know what I'm saying. It doesn't count actual beating. The boys were. They did not care. They wanted the money, so neither of them worked. And they were getting $4,000 a month, $1,000 per adopted child, to just have them. Hold on real quick. The dogs are wrestling. I'm going to kick them out of the room. Give me 1 second. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. So, okay, so I'm gonna say it wrong, C-Dub, because you know how I do it. Misophoniac. So I have the issue, but I go somewhere else when people eat instead. That is my daughter. My daughter cannot handle that sound, which is ironic because when she was little, she actually chewed with her mouth open. But she, whatever that is, that in the hearing, that's like oversensitive, it like literally drives her like insane. Like she cannot handle it. Yeah, no, I can't either. All right, let me go back to looking for the press conference. But essentially, on the charges that they were found guilty of, they were found guilty of 5 of the 7 counts. Ultimately, their sentence is 15 years to life plus an additional 4 years. So let me see if I can find the presser. Yeah, it's a sad case. I mean, they're just so freaking cute. Tell her there's a Reddit support group that'll make her feel less crazy. Like people try to make us feel. Well, it does get frustrating because it's like she can't even like function sometimes when somebody's like eating around her. But yeah, I think I heard it like in a song, like or something like that, and I was like, wait a minute, and then I started like digging. I'm like, that is so her. She can't handle the sound. So apparently they couldn't handle the sound either, and so instead of figuring out a way to fix it, they just punished them and then had their other kids punish them. All right, come on. Jason, are you posting it on Twitter maybe? No, it's not there. The DA scheduled the press conference for 10 a.m. and don't see it yet. Oh, Shelly Ann, you're like that too? Nope, that's 2 weeks ago. So the sentencing was supposed to happen at the beginning of September. They got it postponed until today. And the family was not happy. And they were concerned that it was going to actually get postponed again today. But the judge was like, no, we're doing this. So there's a reporter named Jason Katowski. He's normally really good. He works for KGET, and he's on this case. So I'm just trying to. I know if there when the press conference starts, he should be like on top of it. I just don't know where he's going to post it. Let me pull up Facebook and see if it's on there. It's sad though because what happens in like these cases is they get like almost forgotten about because it's quote unquote done now, but these boys aren't found, so it's not done. It's not done until they're found and they can have a proper burial. I'm just checking different spots and seeing. The other thing that Torres Stalling, which is Jacqueline West's attorney, was saying was that like Jacqueline's lost everything. She's lost her kids. She's lost her husband. She's never going to have the life that she had before. So the judge should show her leniency. And even if he does sentence her, she should be moved to a facility in Oregon or on the East Coast so she could be closer to her family. Because she has no criminal record, and Tora Stalling has spent a lot of time with her, and she just is such a a good person. Hi, Juror 13. Sorry, guys. Yeah, judge said she's not a victim here. She's not a victim. She's the perpetrator, hence why she was found guilty. And her attorney was like, I don't agree with the verdict, but I respect it because a jury of 12 found her guilty, but I still think she just deserves probation. And it's like, no, she's now a convicted murderer. So probation. Oh yeah, go kill your kids and you get probation. Hi, Danielle. Oh, thank you. So I'm just waiting for them to pop up with press conference, which should be soon. He scheduled it for a tentatively at 10. Most likely because of the fact that they obviously didn't know how long the sentencing was actually going to last. And then he's got to get prepared. So what do you guys think of the sentence, though? Do you think it's enough? A lot of people are upset from what I can see. Oh, there we go. So Midwest Mima. And so this is disgusting. The sentence is a joke. Those two little boys will never be found or given a proper burial, and that's beyond sad. I think that the tough part is because the boys were not found, they were not able to get them on first-degree murder. They could only get them on second degree. And so the sentence, it's not as harsh as I would like the sentence to be, obviously, but it's harshest that they can really give based on what they're convicted of. So the judge kind of just, I don't think the judge did anything wrong. I think it's just tough that they never found the boys. She knew those babies were disappeared, so she should get what she deserves. In my opinion, those little guys had no voice. No, yeah, absolutely not. I know. I'm telling you, I hardly slept last night. Based on the Suzanne Morphew stuff. I'm just so overwhelmed. I don't even know the right word to use. Hi, ATS. I pray they are found, but here's the thing: they won't be able to do anything else to Jacqueline and Trezell once they're found. This is done. This part is done. They can't go back and retry them. They can't go and add first-degree murder and try them with that. So this is it. No matter if they find them and they can figure out cause of death, that's it. To not know where these little boys are is disgusting. They deserve a much harsher penalty. Yep. Hey, Mystic Firefly. It really has dynamite. I know. The parole board can take it into account. That's a good point, Dynamite. They can. But legally, that's it. So I'm assuming that the family would even be talking because they typically do an interview after every hearing. And I'm still only seeing the one from the last sentencing that ended up getting postponed. Let me pull this up for you guys, though. Why can't I get that to move where I want it to? Pull it over here. So I did take some time this morning as I was looking through things for Suzanne Morphew. I did take some time to separate all of my Delphi stuff onto one screen and all my Morphew stuff onto another screen. And then I have all the West stuff on the third screen. It's kind of a mess, I know. Actually, I'm going to bring this over here to Suzanne's screen. Hey, David. Hi, BG. So we're just I'm gonna play, this is the family from the last time sentencing was at the beginning of September. It was a couple weeks ago, and they ended up postponing it.
And feel they must
Come on, go back.
Begin highly anticipated sentencing hearing for Trezell and Jacqueline West, the adoptive parents of two little Bakersfield boys who disappeared some 3 years ago. The defense today asking the court to postpone sentencing for the couple, and the judge honored that request. 17's Michaela Armstrong was in court this morning and joins us now with the latest in this high-profile case. Michaela, good evening.
Good evening, Jim. Well, as you can see behind me, it's pretty quiet outside of the courthouse today. But earlier this morning, it was a different story, because when those who are close to the case found out that the sentencing for Trezell and Jacqueline West would be postponed, they had immediate reactions.
They sit up in here and act like they just the parent of the year? No, they murderers. They murderers, they animals. Trezell and Jacqueline, y'all animals, okay? Tell us what the babies are, no deal, nothing.
Emotions ran high after it was decided in court Wednesday that sentencing for Trezell and Jacqueline West would be postponed to September 28th for defense attorneys to provide more information to the court. In May, a jury reached verdicts on 5 of 7 charges after a weeks-long trial. The couple were accused of murdering their 2 adopted sons, Orrin and Orson West, who went missing in 2020. Jurors found the couple guilty of murder for the death of 4-year-old Orrin,
Yes,
and
this is
child
old.
cruelty for 3-year-old.
This is when that's what I was saying. This is old. This is when the sentencing had gotten postponed before. That's what I was saying, is that I'm surprised the family hasn't actually come out, because they typically do interviews every time they have a hearing. So this is from a few weeks ago. Just playing it so we can hear what they have to say while I'm still waiting for the one from today.
Orson's death. Now they face life terms in prison. The boys' bodies have not been found. That is why the news of the delay in sentencing the couple drew an immediate reaction from many.
We have to relive this every time we come to this courtroom. Every time. This is a reliving. You know, the mom, the dads. This is hurtful stuff, and people need to take, if it was your children, including the judge, including whoever is behind whatever, they need to realize this could be your kids, and you will feel the same way that we feel.
Family and friends of the boys' biological parents fear it could be postponed again, and feel they must continue to make their presence felt to ensure that does not happen.
Oh, we don't sleep without thinking about it. We're waiting for justice. We're not leaving. We're going to be here every day. Every time they have court, we're here. No matter if we got takeoff, no matter what, we are here. That's applying pressure. Our presence is applying pressure.
Okay.
Period.
I found it. Let's see if we can get it up. So now this is live today.
At some point we were going to file charges.
Why can press conferences not have decent audio anymore?
All right, good morning. It's been one of the honors of my career to be able to prosecute this case. I've never met, obviously,
Seriously?
here in Classic, but I went in every day to fight for their justice because they deserved it. They were provided to Jacqueline.
Can you hear that? I cannot hear that at all.
And ultimately, they were not treated appropriately, and they were killed by them. This has been a long road. It's been a long road that involved a lot of people working extremely hard. And some of the, I guess, unsung heroes I like to bring to the forefront, the jurors. The jurors, they go and they're called to jury duty. They don't know what they're there for, and ultimately,
Freaking
they get picked for
ridiculous.
a panel. And
Let me see if I
in
can
front
find
of
it
them is
somewhere
a case
else.
that has over 70 witnesses, has over 100 pieces of
Why aren't they
evidence.
playing it on their
And they
freaking YouTube?
deliberated thoughtfully. They deliberated about this case, and ultimately they rendered justice for Sincere and Classic. I'd also like to thank the other family members in the West family, Wanda West, Philip West, Josiah West. A lot of times in these cases, family members are collateral damage. Ultimately, when law enforcement goes out, they talk with family members of suspects. And in this case, those individuals, Wanda, Philip,
Yeah, see, now I can't hear it at all. Hold on. We're going to have to end up replaying it anyway now. Sorry, you guys. Hi, MK. Hey, Elizabeth. You could hear it? Okay, well, now you can't hear it at all because now my does it. Yeah. Come on. Seriously? Yeah, no sound. There's zero sound coming out now. Hold, please. What the heck? All right, let's see what we can do. Right, Dynamite? I know. It's like my life. I don't know. I hate press conferences anymore. Like they just don't ever. They never have the audio where it actually you can hear anything. I still feel like it's not working.
The Assistant Chief Stratton is
Yeah, I cannot hear it.
Detective Tommy Hernandez, who is a man of few words, but I can tell you who is a very hard worker and has worked since December of 2020 on this case. And finally, I'd like to introduce to you California City Chief of Police Jesse Hightower.
Testing your speakers on StreamYard. Sounds like they're working.
good morning, thank you.
Testing your speakers.
What the fudge?
Testing your speakers on StreamYard. Sounds like they're working.
You guys can hear me though, right?
Have a great show. Testing your speakers on StreamYard. Sounds like they're working.
My organization, Bakersfield PD's organization, the amount of work that was able to get done.
Make that make sense.
To take it.
Thank you, Chief. It's a very sad case, but I am so proud of the work law enforcement did in bringing justice to these kids. It was quite a road, and I think we're all
All right.
relieved.
Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, give me 1 second. They're back with low sound.
If you have any questions.
You can hear them again? I cannot hear any of it.
Okay, that's a lot of questions in one. We thought it was appropriate.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I'm going to let
I was hoping that if I went out and came back in, that it would help, but it's not. I'm still working on it. Give me a second. I'm gonna have to call in my tech support. It got louder right before I left? What? Oh, not here? Okay, I was like, wait a minute. How did you guys even hear that? I'm trying to figure it out. I have no idea. I have no sound now whatsoever. Hold on. Let me grab my husband. No, it's for some reason it's I think it's on my computer that the sound completely went out. So I'm trying to fix it because I can't hear anything on any of my screens. I'm gonna turn this off and then we'll try it again.
Power it off. Power it on.
Let's see if this works. You hear it? Nope, you can't hear it because I'm not presenting it to you. But I can hear it again. Perfect. All right. We're going to get rid of this one, though. Powder on.
It's not common, but it's certainly not rare. Even if the bodies had been found, they might not have shown what the cause of death was.
I'm actually going to go from their Facebook page and see if that helps at all.
It might have been easier for us. Law enforcement actually gets trained.
Then I can go back.
Would have a fair trial, time they carried and things like that. I wanted to make sure that I followed the rules to be ethical and also to ensure that
It's still so freaking quiet.
filed and how much time they carried and things like that.
I'll turn this all the way up.
I wanted to make sure that I followed the rules to be ethical and also to ensure that the Wests would have.
Well, I'm going to mute, so.
And that is exactly what happened. They had a fair trial and there was a fair verdict. Shortly after the indictment was read, and even before the defense had access to any transcript or knew even a shred of evidence, the accusations started coming. The first was that this prosecution was politically motivated. And I can tell you that is the furthest from the truth. This case was prosecuted because the evidence was overwhelming that Trezell and Jacqueline West murdered those two boys. As the case progressed during the months that came, the defendants quickly and repeatedly sought to attack law enforcement in a failed effort to cast doubt in what was one of this county's most exhaustive, thorough investigations. And I'm very proud of the work that law enforcement has done in this case. Having finally reached the conclusion of the trial process, I can assure you that while the world was wondering what happened to these children, your Kern County law enforcement officers and the prosecutors involved in this case were working tirelessly to seek evidence in order to hold the defendants accountable. I'm very pleased with the verdict in this case. I am so grateful for the jurors who chose to serve and who were patient and diligent with the evidence. Today, the judge sentenced both Jacqueline and Trezell West for 15 years to life on the second-degree murder of Sincere, and also a felony child abuse for Classic, which was 4 years consecutive, for a total of 19 years to life. As you are aware, the jury was unable to reach a verdict on 2 counts, and those dealt with the murder of Classic. Mr. Smith and I made the very difficult decision of choosing not to retry the case based on those 2 counts. There was a lot that went into that, a lot of time and effort, but ultimately we decided not to go forward and retry the defendants on those counts because of the major factor was the difficulty that would have put the witness through. As you know, the majority, not the majority, but some of the most impactful testimony was from children. It was from the children in the home, and it was very difficult on them, and in essence, they had to testify against their parents. We didn't want to put them through that again. The children were murdered in September of 2020, but reported missing 3 months later on December 21st of 2020. And that made the investigation very difficult. In essence, the killers got a 3-month head start on law enforcement. But about 1 week, the children were taken into protective custody on the 21st, and about a week later, it was rediscovered in law enforcement what had happened. We received the evidence at that time, what had happened, and that the children, that in essence, Sincere was killed in Bakersfield, never made his way to Cal City, and that Classic may have been there for a couple of days, then disappeared. So we knew that. That's not something I told you early on. But you may ask, why did you not begin the indictment process for nearly a year? I can tell you because we worked, and law enforcement worked, and they worked hard. They interviewed numerous witnesses. They conducted numerous searches. 47 search warrants were conducted in this case during that period of time, looking for all evidence in this case, but looking to see if there was any evidence at all that would have shown that those children were alive after September of 2020. A photograph, a video from the business, anything. And there was nothing. And during the trial, the defense was able to produce nothing to show that those children were alive after September of 2020. I want to thank law enforcement for their work in this case. They did an amazing job. They were persistent. They were diligent. Specifically, I want to thank the California City Police Department that started this. They got the call that 2 children were missing. And what did they do? They assumed they were alive. And they did everything they could do to try to find them. But soon it became clear that the killers were not telling the truth about what happened. When we discovered 1 week into the investigation that Sincere was killed in Bakersfield, the case then primarily went to the jurisdiction of the Bakersfield Police Department. Chief Terry and his staff and all the investigators in the case, they were wonderful. They fully accepted, of course, the responsibility because it was he was killed in their jurisdiction, and they took over the investigation, and they worked so hard. And I went to meetings there where there were just a room full of detectives working on every aspect of this case. And I was very proud to be a part of that. I'd like to also thank the Kern County Sheriff's Department. They helped in a number of ways, as did the California Highway Patrol and the FBI. When you have 2 little children that are missing, 4 years old and 3 years old, it just breaks your heart. And then to find out that they were killed by the people that the state entrusted to take care of them is just heartbreaking. This was a case that was so hard because it was so sad. I mean, all homicides are sad, but goodness gracious, the 4-year-old, they were babies. They were babies. And I am so proud that the community embraced these children and cared about this case and followed this case. I also want to thank all the volunteers in Kern County and other places that came out to search for those children out in the desert, hoping that they were alive. And I want to thank everyone that watched this case, even though you may not have been involved, that you had hoped and rooted that there would be a just ending to this. It's not the ending that we hoped. I mean, it would have been wonderful that these children were alive, but they are not. But at least we were able to achieve justice for these children. Now, the bodies of Sincere and Classic have not been found, but we will never give up hope that the bodies of these precious children will be found and can be brought home. So at this time, I'd like to turn the mic over to Eric Smith. Eric Smith was a trial attorney on this case. He's the chief trial deputy in this office. He and I have been together and on this case since the beginning, and he took over as trial attorney pretty early on during the investigation, knowing at some point we were going to file charges. So Eric, would you like to say something? A few words.
All right, good morning. It's been one of the honors of my career to be able to prosecute this case. I've never met, obviously, Sincere and Classic, but I went in every day to fight for their justice because they deserved it. They were provided to Jacqueline Trezell by the state, and ultimately they were not treated appropriately and they were killed by them. This has been a long road. It's been a long road that involved a lot of people working extremely hard. And some of the, unsung heroes I like to bring to the forefront, the jurors. The jurors, they go and they're called to jury duty. They don't know what they're there for. And ultimately, they get picked for a panel. And in front of them is a case that has over 70 witnesses, has over 100 pieces of evidence. And they deliberated thoughtfully. They deliberated about this case. And ultimately, they rendered justice for Sincere and Classic. I'd also like to thank the other family members in the West family. Wanda West, Philip West, Josiah West. A lot of times in these cases, family members are collateral damage. Ultimately, when law enforcement goes out, they talk with family members of suspects. And in this case, those individuals, Wanda, Philip, and Josiah, were truthful. They provided the truth in this case. That's something that's extremely hard to do when it's your son that's looking at a prison term or being accused of murder. They provided that to law enforcement in the beginning, and they did that throughout. They testified to it. Something extremely difficult to do, but they did it. And also, of course, I'd like to thank law enforcement. I work very closely with Detective Thomas Hernandez, with Chief Hightower and his officers. I just thank them for all their efforts in this case, for ultimately the justice that was served in this case for Sincere and Classic. Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to introduce Assistant Chief of Police from the Bakersfield Police Department, Brent Stratton, and also the lead detective in this case, Tommy Hernandez.
Good morning. The Bakersfield Police Department is dedicated to pursuing justice on behalf of our victims, their families, and our community. That's evidenced by the tremendous amount of work and time and effort that went into the investigation of this case. We'd like to recognize and thank DA Zimmer for her leadership and her partnership with the Kern County District Attorney's Office. We'd also like to recognize Mr. Smith and the amount of work and effort that went into prosecuting this case. We'd also like to thank and recognize Chief Hightower and the California City Police Department, as well as the Kern County Sheriff's Office and the FBI for the tremendous amount of assistance and work that went into this. But I'd also specifically like to recognize the investigators led by Detective Hernandez, but numerous other employees at the police department. DA Zimmer spoke about the sheer volume of people that put time and effort and their hearts into this investigation. It was a tremendous honor. And I'm proud to work with detectives and investigators like them for the work that they put into it in seeking justice. I would like to say that the Bakersfield Police Department, however, will not rest until these boys are brought home and they're able to be laid to rest with the respect and the dignity that they deserve. Thank you for your time.
And standing with Assistant Chief Stratton is Detective Tommy Hernandez, who is a man of few words, but I can tell you who is a very hard worker and has worked since December of 2020 on this case. And finally, I'd like to introduce to you California City Chief of Police, Jesse Hightower.
Good morning. Thank you. Leave it to Kelsey.
And Channel 17.
So I'd like to start off by thanking the DA's office, one, for having the courage to take this case, and then secondly, having the faith in the job that my organization, Bakersfield PD's organization, the amount of work that was able to get done. I'm forever grateful to Mr. Smith, to Ms. Zimmer. I'd like to thank the members of my community for coming out countless of hours, doing hundreds of searches through hundreds of miles. Sometimes that terrain was pretty tough. And mostly I'd like to thank the members of my organization for they never quit. They always put forth 100%. So again, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. It's a very sad case, but I am so proud of the work law enforcement did in bringing justice to these kids. It was quite a road, and I think we're all relieved that it's over. But now, do any of you have any questions?
Yes. One of the accusations you were talking about them earlier was your office infringing on the client's rights as part of the gag order. You will do that for March. Now, what is your reaction to this?
Okay, that's a lot of questions in one. We thought it was appropriate. Yeah, I'm going to let Mr. Smith talk about how there was no infringement on anyone's rights and how gag orders are constitutional.
Right. In the types of cases that involve media, where media is interested in it, and the media was interested in this case, a lot of times we will get gag orders. In this case, following the defense attorneys having a press conference, at that point, we believed we needed to ask for a gag order. And the purpose of a gag order is merely that the parties don't speak about the case with the media, and that allows for the jury, as when they come, to be unbiased and not have knowledge of the case.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Are you asking what what we really think happened? Oh, outside of what happened in court?
Yes, I know there was a lot said in court, but yes, I didn't know if you could tell us what you really think happened.
Well, I think, obviously Sincere was killed first in Bakersfield. And then I think Classic survived for a period of time until he went to Cal City, maybe just for a few days. I'll let Mr. Smith talk about that and what he's comfortable. We don't want to, speculate too much because some of this is just our gut feeling. But I think that after, and this is maybe Mr. Smith's opinion, but my opinion is after Sincere was killed, that Classic was lost. They were 4 and 3 years old, and they were together since birth, different foster homes, different places. And without Sincere, Classic was probably crying a lot, devastated, probably looking for him, and they had to come up with something to take care of that. I don't know, but I just feel that I think about Classic and what it was probably his only real security was Sincere, being that they were together and, biological brothers. And I think it must have been horrible to be without him for that period of time. And so above that, maybe Mr. Smith, I don't know. We're usually not very comfortable commenting on what a gut feeling is because, who knows? But I think we laid it out pretty well in court. Mr. Smith, is there anything you'd like to answer about that? I think he's probably more hesitant than I am about. You hesitant? Yes. But well, we have had quite a bit of interaction with the biological family, different members. Mr. Smith can tell you specifically a little bit more than I have, but they have been involved in this and for the most part cooperative and wanting to see justice done.
There's a lot of families that have taken custody of children at the state level when it comes to the kinds of cases that take place here. What advice you have for them when it comes to making sure that this kind of abuse and if they do and that they are abusing these children, that the full weight of the family and the kind of efforts you guys talking about are standing behind this.
Well, I can tell you this, whether you're in an adoptive home or in your bio parent's home, law enforcement in the county of Kern is not going to stand for child abuse. These are our most vulnerable victims. Do I have a message for adoptive parents? No. I think adoptive parents, are wonderful for the most part. But if anybody is ever feeling that they are, losing their patience, maybe feeling that they were, acting in an abusive manner, there's a child abuse hotline. And if anybody out there sees anything that they think is potentially abusive with a neighbor or relative or whatever, they can also call 911 or the child abuse hotline. I mean, people can get help for this. No parent is perfect, but of course, we're not going to tolerate any type of abuse or murder, of course.
We've heard a lot about how difficult it can be to try a murder without a body.
Mhm.
How difficult did that turn out?
Well, it might have been easier for us if the bodies had been found, but it's not common, but it's certainly not rare. Even if the bodies had been found, they might not have shown what the cause of death was, depending on what the level of decomposition was. So we've tried them here before. Law enforcement actually gets trained in what we call no body homicides. And I don't know, would it have been easier? I don't know. It just kind of depends, but it wasn't going to deter us because, this is different than a situation when you have an adult that is missing. An adult can run away, be under an assumed name, something like that. So we have to be, we're careful regardless, but these were children and they would not have been able to provide for themselves. So it was pretty obvious something horrible happened to them at that time.
You said that you wanted that you would remove the most of their bodies. What exactly does that entail? Are there any leads or anything that you guys have to go off of where they might be?
No, I don't believe so. Tommy, we have any leads? Not at this time. We investigated all the tips, all the leads in that period of time before we went to the grand jury and then during the trial. But I will tell you that people find bodies, in the desert. People find bodies, and luckily now we have DNA. And if And if the body is found, the bodies, one or both of them, that we have the technology to be able to identify them. And I pray that those bodies are found. There certainly will be active searches, and perhaps Chief Stratton could talk about that if there is a viable lead or tip. But right now, we don't have any. And of course, if these killers choose to do the right thing and come forth and tell us where they are, because the people that know where the bodies are Trezell and Jacqueline West, and if they want to truly do the right thing, they should tell us where those children are. I don't think so.
Maybe go into gut feeling again, but
Oh.
do you believe that Jacqueline was the killer of both boys? Do you think Jacqueline killed one, Trezell killed another? I just didn't know if he physically killed them.
I think I have my own gut feeling, but I don't know that that's appropriate. Mr. Smith, to you, I think we think they were knit together. They're like this. But Mr. Smith, you want to say anything about that? Nope. No.
This is maybe directed towards Mr. Smith. I know the family was speaking to you about it after the sentencing, but they were really hoping to be able to say their piece and read their victim impact statements to Jacqueline and Trezell, and obviously that did. We know why that didn't happen today, or what happens with these kinds of statements.
Right, and what we had them do is they wrote their statement, and because ultimately it's for the court to consider. I understand their desire to address the court and then also be heard by Trezell and Jacqueline West, but ultimately they were heard by the court. The court read all of those statements that they wrote and ultimately imposed the sentence that he did. So they were heard by the court.
What resources in the Victim Services Office have been made available?
The victim advocates would know that answer about what type of services they chose to avail themselves of. It's not something that I would feel comfortable talking to you about as, oh, this family member needed counseling, this family member, but we have a lot of services that victims' family members can take advantage of, and I hope that they did choose to do so.
What was your reaction to that?
I have not seen that. The case that she mentioned, I don't think that the person was convicted of murder. I have never seen that. I've never seen a judge in Kern County give a probationary sentence. I was offended, quite frankly, by the defense argument in court trying to paint Jacqueline West as the victim. Now, defense attorneys are going to say what they're going to say. They're looking out for the best interest of their clients, but that was, I think, went over the line. Jacqueline, Trezell West, they were not victims. They were murderers. So, and I did not believe Judge Bremer would grant probation for the murder of 2 children. Right, one more question? Or we sufficiently answered all your questions except the gut feelings that, we could turn around on you. You watched the whole trial. What are your gut feelings? Yeah, why don't you talk about that? All right. Is there anything else any of you would like to comment on? Thank you. Thank you all so very much for coming. I appreciate it. And again, I'm just so proud to be part of the law enforcement community in Kern County that works like this to see that justice is done in such a horrible case. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to whisper it first, just in case anybody still has their volume up really, really high. Everybody turn their volume down. I'm not a good whisperer. I'm a loud person. Okay. Hi, Marshall. Hi, Swamp Side. Okay. So everybody back to normal volume. That was so hard to listen to with the volume so bad. I try. I'm like, yeah, just go in here and start blowing out eardrums. Anybody who wasn't paying attention to chat, though, sorry. That was the only way I could tell you guys I was coming back. That was a great whisper. Oh, look at that. Everybody makes fun of me because I can't whisper. And I still stick with the same story that I have tiny ears, so I don't hear well, so I'm loud because I need to hear. So that's that. And what's left is to find the boys. At least she said that they're going to still be doing searches. I want to see if the family has done any. I'm surprised that the family wasn't actually there. I want to see if the family's done any. Why are you going to be available? Yeah, okay. Why aren't you letting me out of here, though? Yeah, thank you. So let me see if the family's done any interviews. I don't see anything. I'll do a little Google search and Twitter search real quick. You're trying to get my attention to go back on? Oh, goodness. I was so, like, when there's so much going on in my brain that I was like, there's just no way I couldn't do. Oh, shoot. I wouldn't have been able to do it last night because I was just so overwhelmed with everything that had happened. Yeah, I'm going to do Delphi here this afternoon. After I pick up kids from school, I just wanted to make sure that we followed up on what was happening with the West boys and that Trezell and Jacqueline's sentencing was today. Try to stay on the cases that have always like been close to me. But she did say they're going to be doing more searches. Has my mark gone away yet? No, you guys want to see it? Hold on. There it is, right there. No, it's still there. It's still there. I know. This is why I'm not on camera, because I can't believe that I have this stupid mark on my face. It's such a mess. Hi, Princess Megan Elsa. So I'm going to wrap this up. I don't see anything from the family. They're probably overwhelmed themselves at this moment. But yesterday was it was a lot. It was a lot with the Crystal Rogers stuff in the morning. Yesterday was my dad's birthday. And I was already emotional during the day. And then when I got the news about Suzanne, I don't know, it's just too much. And so by last night, like my head hurt. I was like, I can't even like watch TV because there's so much. But this morning I have been going through like every news article that has come out, because I was saying yesterday, what happens now that since there's not going to be a press conference for Suzanne at this point, we don't know if they'll have one soon. All these news media outlets are going to be reaching out to the coroner, to the El Paso County medical examiner, to the district attorney in the area where Suzanne was found. So you're going to start getting like so many little bits and pieces that are being said to the media that it's not going to match anybody else's. So it's almost like you have to like watch everybody's to see if they're getting any comment. So I was going through all of anything that came out on YouTube from the news, going through all the articles, and just trying to figure out different pieces of information. What I did see is that the family was notified. Barry was actually the first to be notified, and then her sister. The defense team said supposedly that the girls were not notified by law enforcement, that they had to be told by Barry. Another news outlet reported that Barry is thankful that she was found and looks forward to, justice being served to the right, in the right place, or to the right person. I don't remember his exact quote now. One other outlet said that she was actually found south of Moffett. So I found that interesting because we were looking north of Moffett. I also was looking into like Edna and where they were searching for her. And it looks like what we were looking at yesterday, that 46AA was where they were searching for her, for Edna, back in June, July. And when they found that other set of remains. So I'm not sure we have the right spot that we were looking at yesterday, but not sure that's even relevant necessarily, just, liking to have all the pieces. So that my brain, she was found on private property. Well, I think that most of that land is going to be private because there's a lot of farmland there. There's a lot of crops and agriculture. So a lot of those plots or those pieces of land have either like one small house on it or a trailer. And then, that's where their farms are. You are MK? Okay, good. Bushi, you know what? I don't know about the GPS being tracked on her car. It's a great question. AK Rocks told you that last night? Okay, perfect. Yeah, and I think he's doing a live tonight, and he's always been a huge advocate for Suzanne. But I need to, and I want to finish up the Delphi document because we're so close to the end. And I just have so many questions still on that. But I've been trying to piece together some things for Suzanne. A lot of people are asking me about her, if I think she was killed on Friday. I don't. I think she was killed on Saturday. I think she was killed on Saturday. I know people think that Friday, but they're here and they don't have her phone. So it could go. I could be wrong about Saturday. They don't have her phone, but they do have data from her phone. And it shows that she sent that photo. On Saturday afternoon to Jeff. Now, do they have the metadata that would show the time the photo was taken? Because people who are suggesting that she was possibly killed on Friday, the metadata would have to say that was definitely an old photo, and I don't believe it was. And I think she took the photo on Saturday. I think that he had suspected she was having an affair. I think he was sneaking up and checking on her and listening to her and trying to pay attention to what she was doing. They said that too, MK. They said both. One news place said south of Salida, and then one news place said south of Moffett. And it's tough because are they typos? Are they misspeaking? Possibly. Another one says that it was only 30 minutes south of Salida. And then there's one that actually talks about that that she was believed to be in a shallow grave, that it was skeletal remains that they found. They were able to identify her using her dental records and the cancer port, the chemo port, or the medication, the cancer port. And that's how they were able to identify her. Hi, Crafty Chris. Some people think that's possible. So AK does have, he has the GPS data, which was in the discovery, but I think he's done, because he's, like I said, he's been such an advocate for Suzanne. I'm curious to see what he has to say about the trip to Moffett. We know that he went that way. So yeah, they reported that she was most likely in a shallow grave. It was skeletal remains, and then they were, and that they were kind of scattered, which is not uncommon when you have wildlife out there, you know. They also talk about, hi Jeannie, hi Peyton. They also talk about it's a straight shot. So like they lived off of like Route 50, and then he would have had to have gone over to 285 to go north. So he would have had to have left his driveway and gone right, which was the whole big thing. And he says, no, I went left because I saw the elk, blah, blah, blah. But then he goes back, he goes back on the 50 and goes back to the 285 to go up to Broomfield. Well, this is where she's found, regardless if it's exactly where I think it is. We know that it's down 285, which is where it would hit the 17. I don't think it's not too far out of the way, is kind of the thing. It's not that far for him to have been able to go there. So that's, do I think that he's involved? I think that they're going to need more evidence than they had before to be able to prove that he did it, because that was the whole thing. They wanted to find her. Oh, as I was saying, it was one of the articles that I was reading talked about the items that she was found with. And so I was like, okay, what items was she found with? And will those items tie back to the house? I know that AK on Twitter said that he does not think that Barry acted alone. Yeah, I only have it from the court docs. I don't have a PDF. So I don't know where he has that, but I don't have that. Yes, it was found not, it wasn't really too far. Let me see if I can show you. That's a great question, Bushi. I thought about that too. It's like ironic that he purposely leaves hand tools and shovels at the hotel. I hope that they did. Let me show you guys this. I don't want to go too far into Suzanne because I don't have a lot of answers. Because I'm kind of just still doing it, like digging around. Go to AK Rocks on Discord. Several have been analyzing and researching it there. Okay. Thank you, Mystic Firefly. Is it only for like his members though? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a member on his channel or anything. I don't know. Is it just open? Okay, so here is the house, the bike, the helmet. So, and this is 50 right here. You guys see that? So he should have left the house, went through these little curvy roads, made a right to go up north. But that morning he came out, went through the curvy roads, made a left, and then said he was following the bull elk. And okay, thank you, Mystic Firefly. I'll check it out. So the 50 runs over here to Poncha Springs, which is where he went to the little grocery store, the little store where he wrote on the receipt, is over here in Poncha Springs. So he would have driven the 50. The 285 goes straight down. And Villa Grove is what we were talking about yesterday, because Villa Grove has the 46 AA that comes off of there. It's like the what did I call it? The E2 pass. What are you doing? Right now I'm talking about Suzanne Morphew because it's like in my brain, but the live was actually about the West Boys. This is the junction for the 285 and the 17. And then the 17 drops into Moffett. This is yesterday where I was thinking that it was possible. This is kind of where I was at with the whole off the 17, all the little tidbits that were kind of coming out, the 46 AA, the mile marker 113. They say that she was found in like natural grass and sagebrush, which means that she wouldn't have been in one of these types of fields. So I was kind of thinking right here in this area. It's still technically Moffett. And then I put remains found just because that's the city. So I should probably just change that. That'd probably just be better. I'll just change that to, actually I'll do it later. I'll do it now. I'll just change it because I keep seeing that and people think it's like where I popped in there, but then I had to go take care of stuff with the family, so I popped in and just said hi, but I missed him being on there. Oh, it's okay, Marshall. Oh, thank you. I was watching Lauren Sharps too for a hot minute. So anyway, so here's what I was thinking. It's like, this is where I was thinking yesterday. I'm not sold on that anymore. But this is not out of the way, is kind of what I was trying to say. It's definitely not out of the way for him to have gone down there, or for anybody, whoever did it, from her house, where the bike was found, where the helmet was found, going over here to Poncha Springs, dropping down the 285 and hopping on the 17. And it's not that far. Like, you think it's further, but it's really, I mean, it's not that far. So is it possible that something could have happened? I'm interested in more of the GPS data, because I think that they use a lot of it in the probable cause affidavits to simply just show like some of the things he did. But there's obviously other places that he would have gone, and if it should be very clear if he took the truck there. And we don't know if they ever even pulled the data from her car, which would have data. When it was a Range Rover, it should have the data too. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at with it. I don't have an exact spot, but I just looking at it more clearly and more level-headed this morning than I was yesterday. Because I was so overwhelmed with emotion that I was just like all over the place. But like now, like kind of digging into it, it would have been really easy. So like my thought is kind of Saturday, drive down here, later that night or that afternoon, evening. There's a whole bunch of time that's kind of weird in his Saturday anywhere, where he talks about that he was eating lunch with Suzanne, but yet they didn't actually eat lunch. His phone was out roaming around, and then he lies and says that he was out looking for a turkey that his daughter had shot, many moons ago. There's a lot of like weird things that he says that he was doing that don't make a lot of sense. No, Mystic Firefly, I don't. I have not heard the audio that we found off Barry's phone. The daughters sent it to us to review. Is that, where would I hear that? Have I heard it? I don't think I have. That doesn't ring a bell to me. And then do they have him stopping there by the truck data? It is what it is. That's kind of what I was thinking, is like they have so much that they didn't give us like access to, like in the probable cause affidavits, only simply because they would just pick what they needed to for that purpose. You know what I mean? All right, I'll go check it out when we're done here. So like I said, I don't want to get too far into Suzanne Morphew because I don't have a lot of new answers. It's kind of just I'm just looking at it. I will be back this afternoon with part 6 of Delphi, and hopefully we can make it through the rest of the document. Otherwise, we're going to end up doing a part 7. I will be live with more Suzanne updates as soon as I know more and can figure out more. The district attorney's office in the district attorney's office for this area where she was located has said that they will be coming out with more information in the next coming weeks. So we will be hearing something. We just don't know what or when. And Tommy, you're very welcome. Those boys are near and dear to me. So I definitely wanted to make sure that people knew that there was an update and what was going on with that. Thanks, Marshall. So like I said, that's where I'm at with that. I don't have any solid answers. Mystic Fire, I'll say this before I go, just because we were talking about this earlier. Hi, Metamom. Because she was found in this location, they can change the jurisdiction to this district attorney being the one to prosecute. Typically, what happens is they like to go with where they believe the crime was committed. And if they believe that she was killed in the home, then it would still stick with Chaffee County. They can move it, in my opinion, because she's found here, and depending on what they found, I should say, in the autopsy and what ties to what, and was she actually killed here? We have so many questions when it comes to that. They can give it to this district attorney, and at this point, that's probably better for the investigation because there's so much animosity and things happening with the civil suit, and Linda Stanley being investigated for odds and end things because people really are not a huge fan of Linda Stanley. It would be better to have a different one prosecute, but I don't know. I don't know if they will. But they can. I mean, and they should. So, Heather, Brad. Part 45. Hi, Wheel B. Yeah, we're just wrapping up. So I'm going to be back this afternoon. We're going to cover Delphi, part 6, and I'll, like I said, this is not something that's definitely, it's not over by any means. So it's something that we're going to be, Suzanne Morphew is something that we'll definitely be talking about. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for coming in and checking on Oren and Orson's Seer and Classic. I appreciate you guys. I will be back this afternoon, and I will see you guys then. You guys go enjoy your afternoon, and I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, bye.